And a welcome here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora on site, on location at the Wildcat Sports Pub, 3680 Milton Avenue in Camillus, New York. We appreciate you being here. You're on YouTube, Facebook, and Podbean. We're also here on site at the Wildcat. I'm here with the West Genesee Baseball Championship team. Can we give West Genesee Baseball a round of applause, please? Show them some love. West Genesee Baseball, the Wildcats. Coach Krause, how are you?
I'm great.
So we got Coach Krause here with us. We also have Jacob Severson here. We have Landyn Shaw, and we have Talon Elkins. And Talon, I have a question for you first. This was by request of Johnny Fordyce. Why do they call you Edelnut? Can we ask you that? Go ahead and take the mic here.
There was an interview or a video out with Julian Edelman and I think Randy Moss.
Yeah.
And Randy Moss said something to him, and then he responded back with Edelnut, and then that name stuck. And then when they said it here, because it was right when the video came out, so they just start calling me that now. I don't know.
What is the connection between you and that?
There is none. He just thought it was funny, and that's my name now.
So that's your nickname now.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you accept that as your nickname from Johnny Fordyce and the crew?
It's not just him. It's everybody now, so
everyone.
I have no choice, so it just kind of sticks. And
okay.
I haven't heard my real name here in months, so
okay.
It's been that.
So that's it. That's all you've heard. For how long?
Couple months.
Couple
Probably
months.
2, at least.
Okay. All right. But, I mean, I guess Randy Moss, Julian Edelman, I mean, they both had good careers in football. So if you're going to be connected to that, I guess that's okay.
I'll take it.
You can deal with it? All right. Coach, welcome. Congratulations.
Thank you.
As you and I spoke about the fact that they said the time between championships was 47 years, but now it's not. Now we've reset the clock, so to speak. So what does it mean to you here in 2024 to be able to celebrate this with the community, with the high school, and with not only these Wildcats, but Wildcats throughout history?
Well, it's been absolutely amazing. We've had a lot of people that have played in 47 years before I coached. This is my 23rd year. I was also a player at West Genesee, so I know what it's like to go through a season, not win a title. And for these guys especially, Talon and Jacob have played in 3 sectional championships. They lost their freshman and sophomore year, and Landyn played in his sophomore year. So for them to be able to win it their senior year has been amazing.
You know, and to be able to celebrate this moment, we've celebrated it with a lot of the guys dyeing their hair blonde. Coach, you didn't jump on the train. Why?
We had a few more wins for that to happen.
Okay, all right. How many wins would it have taken?
If we won the state title, I would have done it.
If you'd won the state title, you would have done it.
100%.
Hand to God, it would have happened.
Absolutely.
All right. So, Landyn, how are you? You didn't do it either.
No, I did not. I told the guys, when we first started practice that week before regionals, I told them, hey, if we win that regional game, I'll 100% do it, and you guys can give me a mohawk, whatever you want with it as well. I mean, we didn't get the job done in that game.
So you got away with saying also after sectionals something had to happen in states.
Yeah, I was greedy. I wanted more. I wanted more than just sectionals.
I like that. I like that you went with Coach on that. I'm going to ask you, who's rocked the blonde the best, Landyn?
I'm going to have to say Zach Elenich. He's right over there.
Where's Zach? Put your hand up.
Yeah.
Give a round of applause to Zach, who rocked the hair the best. Why did you pick Zach?
When he came out with the blonde, I just thought, wow, that's a good-looking dude right there. He looked good. So I was like, you know what, he's rocking it the best.
Okay, all right, Jacob. Give Jacob the mic here. Jacob, you went blonde. The rest, a lot of the team did, right? So, who do you think rocked it the best?
I would say Nick Maloney.
Nick, okay, why? But it's shaved now.
Probably because he had the darkest hair, so it just stuck out the most.
It stuck out the most. When did you change it back? A few weeks ago? So you rocked it for how long? 4 to 5 weeks.
He started it all, him, Talon, and Louis Garcia.
Okay, but now it's shaved down, it's normal again. Jacob, for you, who rocked it the worst?
Probably Braden Kazmierski.
Said Brady?
Yeah, Braden.
Okay,
Kaz.
why?
caught me off guard when I first saw it.
Caught you off guard, okay.
Probably the most orange out of everyone.
The most orange. There's a few orange still out here. Talon, for you, who do you think, like, you want them to change it back now? Like, it's time to go back to their normal hair color. It's too much. You just want to see their blonde go away.
Louis Garcia over here. Some of us call him Ice Spice now.
Ice Spice?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
all right.
I go with him.
But you were one of the first to do it.
Yeah.
So why do that with this team? I know different teams will try to do different things. Why did you want this team to go completely blonde?
It was just something that stuck out for all of us, and it made it more fun and more of a challenge for us and something to get through. So
it also fits because of your colors, right? You have navy and you have gold, and some of this hair is fitting the logo very well. So who would you like to see if there was a face for the West Genesee logo this upcoming baseball season, Talon? I'm going to stay with you. Who would you want to be the face of the logo? If we kept their hair blonde or orange or gold or whatever it is at this point, who would you want to be the face of the Wildcat?
Colin Crennan.
Colin? Okay, why?
I don't know. The curly hair. He didn't change anything. His hair always looks the same, so I'd go with him.
Okay, all right. Coach, if you had to pick somebody to be the face of West Genesee baseball going into 2024-25, who would that be?
Blonde hair?
Whoever you want.
Coach P.
Coach P?
Heart and soul of our program.
What'd you say?
Heart and soul of our program.
Heart and soul of the program. All right, so you'd want that to be the face.
Absolutely.
Okay. Would you think that your team would pick you to be the face?
Probably not.
Probably
at
not?
Look
All right. By a round of applause in the room, would you want Coach Krause's face to be there in place of the Wildcat this season? Round of applause for yes. It had momentum, but it got weak. I don't know what happened there.
I told you.
So, Coach, well, okay, what about Coach P? Would you vote for Coach? All right. They agree with you. Why? You said heart and soul of the program. Why? What's the day-to-day that you see from him?
He does everything for our program. He's coaches a million teams. You want BP, he's the guy to call. He lives on the baseball field. I love baseball. He's infatuated with it. He's the reason we're as good as we are.
Fair enough. I like that. So when you give credit to others, Coach, which is not atypical of you to do, when you're watching the team this year become what they've become, who was the greatest positive surprise on the team?
It was a positive surprise because I have high expectations for all of our players, or they wouldn't be in our program. I just think the way we came together at the end of the year, we really weren't together as a whole for some of the year, and the way we came together the last week or two before sectionals, that's what I'd say.
Jacob, I want to go to you for this one. Actually, all the guys, but I'm going to start with you. How did this team come together? What do you think kind of led to that bonding finally happening?
Well, it took after we went 2 straight losses to teams that we should have easily beat. Then I think it really was when Landyn kind of brought the why not us, when it was kind of our time for sectionals, and it was just that why not us that brought us together and brought us to win sectionals.
Talon, what about you? What happened on this team, in your opinion, that brought about it, that if there was a fork in the road, taking that right direction, what led to that right direction?
I'd say when we had a meeting at practice, it was one of the days we were at Pine Grove. The captains all came together. We had a discussion of bringing more energy and being one group and being together, all that, and kind of making it so there's no separate groups or anything. We're all together doing stuff, which made us do stuff outside of baseball and practice, going to eat, whatever it was. We went bowling at the mall, like just team activities like that. So once we had that meeting and we talked it over, and ever since then, the team felt like it was just more, the season was more fun.
So Talon, you go to that meeting. Landyn, Jacob said there was something about your why not us. So Would you agree with that? Do you feel like that? Did you see that conversation have an immediate effect? Do you point to something else?
Well, when I said that, I just like kind of was like waiting to see the reaction, and it kind of took like everyone like a few seconds, so like a few seconds of silence, and then they all kind of just jumped up and started screaming. I was like, all right, we're gonna roll with it. And that's what brought us together, I think.
Let me give you a little background about Landyn. He's really quiet. So when he says something, it's really impactful. I call him the silent assassin.
So what made you say something? If you are so quiet, if you're more of a leader by example, why did you feel in that moment, Landyn, that you had to say something?
I just thought that like our team needed to like hear a different voice, like someone who wasn't, always vocal with the team, like maybe leads by example, but I think they just needed to hear it from a different voice, and that would give them the confidence to be like, all right, you know what, we can do this, we got this.
When you said, why not us, when you're thinking about what you wanted to say in that moment, did you have any prior thought to it? Was there a plan of this is what I want to say at this moment, or did it just come to you at that specific moment?
It was kind of a little bit of both, like just going like through school, like all those years, like especially coming up this year, our senior year to the sectional playoffs, like I just heard a lot of kids like talking in school like, oh, they're not going to do it, you're just going to choke in the playoffs again like you do every year. And then kind of like right in the moment when we were at that team huddle, I was like thinking to myself, I was like, why not us? Why can't we be the team that breaks the curse? Why can't we do it? So I just said it out loud and everyone jumped on it.
Being the team that quote unquote broke the curse, like you said, Landyn, I'll stick with you for this. 47 years, that's a race now. It's gone. Like Coach said to me, it's just a couple months right now. So when those 47 years go away, it doesn't happen overnight. It doesn't happen just with this team this season in a few months. But to know that now the title is back with West Genesee, it's back with the Wildcats, to erase that history of over 4 decades, what does that mean to you to look back at everybody that's fought so hard for so long and to know that it finally happened?
It's an amazing feeling, and especially when we first like won that sectional final game. Just a surreal feeling, and to know that I've been playing with a lot of these guys since I was 8 years old. So just to win that game and get that title, 47 years with all those guys, it means a lot.
What about for you, Talon, to know that history is now on the side of the Wildcats, just what that means?
It's amazing just for all these people that this is the team that finally did it, and just how hard we work every day. And just now I hope the team after this, I know there's some seniors leaving obviously, but the team, the players that are still left can carry it over to next season, and just now we go on a winning streak.
For you, Jacob, what would you say about being a part of this, being a part of history, knowing that it doesn't just come from this season, it comes from a build over time, but to know that there's now a championship, there's a banner literally that was just hung here within the last few days behind us, to know that this will always be in history, and that now West Genesee can, like Talon said, try to make a streak of this, so to speak.
Yeah, because for 4 years we've just lost, and being on 2 losses, winning now, it's just like, especially with this team being when I first moved here, playing like really when I first started playing baseball, just playing with these guys for like 10 years, just it felt great winning it all, and wouldn't have had it any other way.
Well, now that you've won it, you got that sectional championship, Jacob, I'm going to stick with you for this. Tell me something good about Coach, specifically this season, Coach Krause. Tell me something good about this season when it comes to Coach.
Probably motivating us. He always knew what to say at the right time.
All right, so motivation, right thing at the right time. Talon, tell me something good about Coach this year.
I'd say this year from years past, he would get on us a little bit more, be more aggressive with stuff that we had to work on. This year, he stayed positive. You could tell he was different. He was confident this year, and it carried over to our team and us wanting to win it all year, and we stuck with it, and we were just positive, and we just knew we had a shot, and we finished it. So
I like that. Landyn, tell me something good about Coach this season.
I liked how this season he really brought out the competitor in all of us. We would have, like, even during team practices, just like you know, not just like mini games where he would put us against each other and in certain situations that would really bring out us as competitors.
Said put you all against each other. Who is your favorite person to go up against?
My little brother right there.
And what was it about the matchup that you liked the most?
Just like being able to go home and brag at the dinner table, you know, that I struck him out.
Fair enough. Talon, did you have a favorite person you went up against this season?
Up against as in like pitching and hitting, or
Whatever comes to mind first.
I'd say Jacob. We're both 4-year seniors here, and he's one of the strongest kids on our team, and he makes contact every at bat. So facing him to strike him out, to get him out, it's always a challenge. So I'd say him.
In practice, what we didn't see, how many times did you get him? How many times did he get you? What's the percentage here, honestly?
I feel like we faced each other more like last year or even the year before that. I feel like I didn't face him a whole ton this year.
So who's the all-time between the two of you?
All time has to be me. I feel like this year was me, but I feel like last year he got me more.
Okay, Jacob. You nodded that you think all-time. Do you think it is Talon between the two of you?
Yeah, he definitely had me this year.
Had you this year? Okay. Last year, was
He
it
had
you?
everybody this year.
Okay. Well, what about last year? Was it you?
I think I had it by maybe one at bat.
Okay. All right. So who was your favorite to go up against this season?
Definitely Landyn.
Landyn? Okay.
One of my favorite at bats was against him this year. I had a 16 pitch at bat against him. Just kept. I think I fouled back 8 straight. I've never seen him more frustrated in that bat before.
So you like that moment. Okay. Coach, tell me something good about these guys while they're up here. We'll start with Jacob.
Jacob, he's a 4-year player, and all he does is give everything he has at all times. He works hard, he practices hard, he plays the game the right way.
What about Talon?
Talon, this year, he won Player of the Year, so we know how good he is as a player. He's the best player around. But this year, he did a really great job of taking the younger guys, Nick Maloney, a freshman, Luis Garcia, a freshman, Nathan Quirk, a sophomore, and he took them under his wing like he was his big brother. 4 years ago, Nick Jessen was a senior when Talon was a freshman, and he took him under his wing, and they're living together next year at Cortland. And then Landyn, the silent assassin, he goes about his business every day. You don't have to tell him to do anything. He takes our other pitchers along with him during the drills. He pitched a little as a sophomore, was inconsistent last year, and this year was just dominant. He had a .83 or something, a silly ERA like that. He got our most improved, our hardest worker. He got the senior class most improved player. All 3 of them, just huge pieces of our team this year. They're all great players, but better kids, better young men.
Yeah, and as we look around the room and see this support, see this love, it's not just today, it's all season. It's multiple seasons. And it's hard to believe this, but August of this year, it'll be 8 years that I've been interviewing the Wildcats throughout a bunch of programs, yours included, here at the Wildcat Sports Pub. So when I think about West Genesee's community, I feel like I've been welcomed in. I feel like this has become a part of home for me. One of my closest friends grew up right down the road here, probably like 10, 12 minutes from the high school. So it's not that I haven't driven through this community, but the last 8 years has been special. It's been rewarding, it's been fun, and it makes me feel happy, like you said, when it's not just good student athletes, but the young men and women that come through West Genesee, they're special people. So for you, when you look back on all these years and you look at this community, what does it mean to you to be a part of West Genesee's community? The parents, the guardians, the brothers, the sisters, the aunts, the uncles, the grandparents. I want to sing their praises because they've treated me so well, they've treated you well, and they cheer really loud at a lot of events, including when we do the shows here. So what has this West Genesee community meant to you?
Well, I'll leave you with this. When my first AD was Tony Pascal, he's from Liverpool, and he made fun of people from Camillus because when you grow up here, you move back here. He's like, I've never seen more people come back to a community after they graduate from college. It's just an amazing place to live, and being an athlete or even part of the band or anything like that, there's just so much support in Camillus. We're really lucky.
So I want you guys to give yourselves a round of applause, but to the baseball team, let's give a round of applause to the community for showing up here and showing up in general. And when we speak about history with West Genesee High School, this year when you guys became champions, one of your alum became a champion as well at Misericordia. What does that mean to you, Coach? And I'd love to shout him out as well. He was on the show here within the last couple weeks, but I'd love to hear your thoughts and a shout out as he hoists a national championship. It's the same year that you hoist a sectional championship, and that parallel to me in sports is so special and so cool. So I'd love to get your thoughts.
Joe was on our 19 team, and we got upset in sectionals. And he had a good high school career. He's had an amazing college career. He's the very first person that called me after we won the sectional title. And I was on my way to Talon's house because we were having a party after. And I'm like, oh, I'll just take this later. I'm like, no way. This kid's out playing in a regional right now. He's taking the time. I'm answering the phone. So I pulled over. I talked to him. He's coming back for camp. He's helping us coach our returning players in the summer. And he's tremendous. He talks hitting. He's great. The guys love him. So I hope to see him a lot this summer. But for him to win the championship, we've had another player, Turner Perry, that won it at Cortland State years ago. He was the closer. And we've got a couple guys up there now that hopefully will win at Talon's going there next year. You know, it's just great to have guys like that go on and are successful in college and then want to come back and help.
And when you got that phone call from Joe, I mean, for him to be thinking of you, paying attention to the team to this day, just what that meant to you as a coach and what it says about once you're a part of the Wildcat family, you're always a part of the family.
It was really special because when he called, he sounded like he was just as happy as I was or our guys were. And I don't think you always get that. When people leave, they want to be the best team that played there. He was super excited for us that we were the best. This was the best team that we've had. So I think that says a lot about Joe. And it says a lot about guys that want to come back and help. Every one of my coaching staff played for me.
Best piece of advice, and I'm going to go to you, Landyn, first before we get into rapid fire. Best piece of advice that you can give to an up-and-coming Wildcat on the baseball team?
I'm just going to say trust the process. That's something my stepdad, Dave Maloney, over there in the corner, I mean, he's been telling me that since I was like super young, and he just said always trust the process. So to any younger guys coming up, trust the process.
And when you say trust the process, when did that finally click with you when you hear it so much? Because we typically want to tell our parents and our guardians and our family, when they give us advice, we're like, yeah, okay. And then eventually one day it clicks. Do you remember the day that you're like, wow, I really do have to trust the process?
I want to say this past summer, obviously I was coming off of a varsity season where I was inconsistent, kind of struggled towards the end. And this summer I was pitching and I was feeling myself. I was doing good. And once I started talking to a few of the colleges, one of them came up to me, which is where I'm going, Albright College, and just like then and having those conversations with those coaches, I was like, this is trusting the process. I trust the process. This is going to work out for me.
So you took the advice. That's a good thing. Talon, best piece of advice that you can give to a up-and-coming Wildcat on the baseball program?
I would just say keep doing you and keep working your hardest. My dad always said this to me: if you think you're working hard, there's someone out there at your position, even on your same team, that's working just as hard, if not harder as you, or harder than you. So you just have to keep working hard and fighting for your position, and then just doing you.
What's one of the moments that you look back in your life up to this point where you felt like you were giving all you could and then you realized that there was more in the tank?
I would also say this past summer, down at Cortland, my team went down there, felt like every other weekend, and for these PBR tournaments, there was, hundreds of scouts every weekend, and with the college coaches down there and being at this age, when that's all going to start, you have to take it serious, and actually perform how you can and at your best. So I'd say this past summer.
Yeah, summer as well. All right, Jacob, your advice to a future Wildcat on the baseball team.
My advice is to never stop working and have fun while you're doing it.
Never stop working and have fun while you're doing it. What's a moment that wasn't fun for you that you can reach back to and say, this was something that I dreaded doing, I didn't want to do, maybe it was monotonous, and then all of a sudden you said, no, you know what? This is fun. I do appreciate it. I'm going to celebrate this moment. What was something that wasn't fun that you made fun?
It was definitely last summer. It was like trying to go to like keep playing baseball in college. I thought I was kind of getting burned out, and then I was talking to the Herkimer coach, and he kind of like talked to me about and kind of realized that if I keep working, like I can make anything happen.
Keep working, anything can happen. Coach, you've heard the advice from these guys. What's the piece of advice that you gave to the team this year that you felt like stuck?
Can you say that again?
Piece of advice that you gave, that your coaching staff gave, that you feel like really stuck this year?
If we played our game, we can't be beat.
Play your game, you can't be beat. Control the controllables. What was it about the guys this year that just gave you that faith of saying, if we do what we need to do the way that we do it, nobody can beat us?
Well, I think some of it I have to take on my shoulders, that I worry too much about who we're playing sometimes, instead of just going out there and letting our guys be them and go out there and play hard. We work really hard all year long. I don't know that there's another baseball program around that puts in the time that we do, what these guys do. And I just got to trust that more, and I did that this year. And I think that benefited them and our team as a whole.
All right, right before rapid fire, I am wearing my Diamondback proudly on my chest. Typically, I don't wear it in the Wildcat because Danny Tome, the owner, is a Phillies fan, and the Diamondbacks beat the Phillies last year. So I told him I'd try to not wear it here, but I couldn't help myself today, so please forgive me, Danny. Favorite team, Major League Baseball,
Yankees.
And why?
Yankees, I don't know, I've always liked the Yankees, all the way back from Dave Winfield.
Okay, so forever for you. Jacob, favorite team and why?
I'm a Mets fan.
You're a Mets fan. All right, I need the room to show me by applause. Yankee fans, give me a round of applause. All right. Mets fans, give me a round of applause. There was momentum in the beginning. Mets fans who think you'll make the playoffs this year, give me the round of applause. I think that was 4 people. Jacob, how do you feel about the Mets this season?
Well, we just swept the Yankees, so I feel pretty good.
All right. That is a good feeling. You split with my Diamondbacks as well. Do you think, should you guys keep Pete Alonso? Do you think he's going to go somewhere? Allegedly, he didn't have that extension. He didn't sign that extension, I should say. So do you think this is the last we're going to see Pete Alonso as a Met?
Sadly, I think so.
Do you think he'll go before the trade deadline?
No, I think they'll keep him for the rest of the year.
Keep him for the rest of the season. Okay. I do have a bobblehead of Pete Alonso in my studio. I got a soft spot for Mr. Alonso. All right, Talon, favorite team and why?
Mine's the Yankees too, and just growing up, my dad was a Yankees fan, so it just came to me.
Do you have a favorite Yankee all time or right now?
Now I'd go with Soto because I wear number 22. I'm also a lefty hitter, so I mean right now him, but I mean I love Judge too. So
Juan Soto, will he sign an extension and stay the Yankees?
100%.
You think so?
Yeah.
Some people rumbling about the Mets. You think he's going to stay in the Bronx?
Absolutely, yes, he will.
Okay.
100% stay
All
with the
right.
Yankees.
I do agree with that. All right, Landyn, who's your favorite team and why?
My favorite team is the Philadelphia Phillies.
Philadelphia Phillies. Okay. One clap and Danny. So who's a Philly fan in the room? Is there anybody besides one? 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. Danny, if you're watching, you have 4 people that agree with you in the room. Well, 5, Landyn. So Landyn, why?
I'm a big Bryce Harper fan, and I love the way he plays the game. And I've liked him since I was 10 years old.
Are you mad at my Diamondbacks still, or is there forgiveness?
It's more, I'm not mad at you guys. I'm mad at the Phillies. They didn't get the job done. They played way worse than the team that they are.
Okay, fair enough. Well, it's time to play rapid fire. You all know over the last 8 years, We have some fun. They get to put me on the hot seat, and I get to do the same. Talon, you get to ask me the first question. What do you got?
About anything?
About anything in the world. We're live around the world on video and audio, and we're live to these wonderful people at the Wildcat. We have to answer the question, which means I have to answer whatever you ask me.
Have you met any MLB players, and if so, what is your favorite one, like personality-wise?
It's a good question. I have. Personality-wise. Well, I will say this. Last year, before everything, I've covered the Rays over the years, and I interviewed Wander Franco, and it was a great experience until a month later when I was like, oh, okay, so like everybody was so excited. They're like, oh, you got to interview him, that's so great. And then the news came out, and then it wasn't so great. But, I mean, he was nice in the moment, but now I think, sadly, his career is probably over. But I would say, I don't know if I could pick a player. I don't know if I would pick, you know what? Yeah, I would. Because I was going to say Joe Madden, because I got to be with him when the Rays were the first to get into the postseason. We walked into the clubhouse, and I think I was like the first media member, or one of the first people to walk in, and I'm looking around, and there are garbage bags and tarp all over the lockers, and I'm like, what is going on right now? And then the guys come out with goggles on, and they're spraying beer and champagne on each other, and they tried to get Joe Madden, and I was standing to his right, and I forget who it was. The player got me I was like drenched in wine and beer, and he was like, I am so sorry. And I had to drive back to Orlando that night. It's like an hour and a half. And I'm thinking to myself, if I get pulled over at any point for any reason, I'm not going to get it. They're not even going to test me. Like, I reeked of alcohol. So I just remember being like drenched, sitting in the car. I don't even know how my car dried out that day. I might have left the windows down. But it was such an awesome moment. But I would probably say Pat Corbin, if I got to pick anybody that I interviewed. He was a Diamondback at the time, played for CNS. And the fact that someone from Central New York is like doing his thing in Major League Baseball, and he was playing for my team at the time. Nicest kid. Arizona was so great about it. So I probably have to shout out Casey Wilcox, who set up the interview, and I'd probably say Pat Corbin. My question back to you, Talon. If you could give Johnny Fordyce a nickname, what nickname would you give him if you could choose anything? Remember, it's a family show. But if you wanted to give something to Johnny, what nickname would you give him back after you got Edelnut?
We actually already have one. It's Dice Tolo. His last name is Fordyce, and then he likes to call himself Bartolo Colon.
Okay.
So Dice Tolo.
Dice Tolo. And that's one that's stuck?
Yes.
For how long?
Around the same time, maybe at least a month, 2, maybe.
Dice Tolo, okay. That's not bad. It's clean. I can appreciate it. Jacob, what's your question for me? Anything in the world.
If you could play if you can go back to high school, what sport would you play?
I can go back to high school. So I played basketball, so I won't pick that. I would probably say, honestly, I'm Hispanic and Italian, and when I was growing up, my choices were baseball and basketball. My mom told me if I played football, she'd break every bone in my body before I got on the field, because she didn't want to see me get hurt playing football or something like that. So I would probably play one that was never brought up when I was a kid. It's more prevalent now, and that would be soccer, because I've coached soccer, and I was messing around with a soccer ball, having never played before, and my cousin Christina, who played, she goes, what are you doing with your feet? And I just like started doing things that looked like it was like natural to me, and I'm 5'8", which is short for basketball, but great for soccer. So I'd probably go back, play soccer, and I would probably push my coach in Little League more than I did to let me pitch, because I never got to pitch, and I used to go in the backyard and pitch with my dad, and I really feel like I could have done something with it if I had started earlier. So I'd probably say maybe baseball too. My question back to you, Jacob. If you could take any one of your teammates on an all-expense-paid trip anywhere in the world, where would you go, and it's got to be somewhere you've never been. So where do you go on your trip, and which of your teammates, you can only take one, do you take?
I'll probably take Landyn down to San Francisco to watch a Giants game.
Watch a Giants game? All right. Why the Giants?
Just because the park, it's probably, in my opinion, the most beautiful park in all of baseball.
Most beautiful park in all of baseball, so you've been there. You've never been there. So just seeing it, you like what it looks like. Okay. All right. Coach, what's your question for me?
I probably should have been thinking about this. Favorite athlete of all time and why?
Favorite athlete of all time, of any sport? Man. That's really tough. Favorite athlete of all time. I mean, I want to pick somebody I've never interviewed that I'd like to interview, and I call him my DiMaggio. Is the guy whose poster I chose at the book fair when I went to Our Lady of Pompeii Elementary School, Derek Jeter. I'd probably say Jeter. He never got in trouble, was never a burden to the team, played for many years, consummate professional. I agree. I think the one person that voted against Jeter, I think that should be public knowledge. I don't know why people do this outside of the fact that they just want to be on the other side of history, that they can it makes them feel special, I guess. It's either that or they were voting for someone to keep someone on the ballot because you need a certain percentage. But I mean, you look at how many guys weren't. Babe Ruth wasn't unanimous. Hank Aaron wasn't unanimous. Sandy Koufax, Nolan Ryan. I mean, Mariano Rivera got hated on because he was voted in unanimously. And they said, well, it's not fair because he's a closer and no pitcher ever got it. And I said, it's not his fault that people didn't make the right decision before. So I think Jeter should have been unanimous. If I was voting on the committee, I would have voted him without doubt. And I hope I could be on the committee someday. But I'd probably say Jeter just because I think he made non-Yankee fans root for him. I just feel like people respect him, even if they weren't pinstripe fans. So I'll say Jeter. My question back to you, Coach. If we had a rally song for you, and every time you stepped on the field for the Wildcats, you had this song play, what would be the theme song of Kevin Krause?
Talon, what did you say? I don't have one. Oh, I thought you picked one for me.
Any song.
I know that when I played, my favorite hype song was Hell's Bells.
Okay. So Hell's Bells?
Sure.
All right, we'll go with that. Landyn, your first one for me. We're going to go one more round after this before we say goodnight to a championship Wildcats team. Oh, yeah. So you do get to do that, by the way. I didn't forget.
All right, so my question for you. You're walking into an Arizona Diamondbacks game. What is your go-to meal, and then what are you getting for dessert after that meal?
My go-to meal. So I went to the World Series Game 3. I brought my dad, and I'd never been to our ballpark. I'd never been to Arizona, so that was cool. So my go-to meal in Arizona. I mean, I probably have to get something. I'm trying to think of what we had. I think we had braised beef at the restaurant. It was really good. So I'm going to say that from the restaurant we were at. And then for dessert, I'm a big 7-layer, 8-layer, as many layers as you can chocolate cake. So I'd want a really good chocolate cake after a Diamondbacks game. But yeah, something like that. My question back to you, well, I'm kind of a question, kind of letting you do it. Give us the impression. It's of Coach, right?
Yeah. Yes.
So everyone, Landyn Shaw would like to do his Kevin Krause impression, and I can't wait to see it.
All right, so I'm going to set the scene for you.
All right.
All right, so Jacob's in center field. Ball gets hit out to him, and he catches it. There's a guy on second base. Guy's not going, but Jacob's not throwing the ball in the outfield, or throwing the ball into the cutoff man Talon right here. So Krause stands up.
Jacob, what are you doing? 4-year senior, and you are making mental mistake after mental mistake.
I like it. Give him a round of applause. That was good. Coach, was that good? Did that suffice?
That was pretty accurate.
Pretty accurate. Okay.
But I will say he's made so many amazing catches in his career. I guess he's liable to make a mistake here and there.
Okay.
High expectations.
High expectations. All right, we're going one more round. Landyn, I'm going to stick with you here. What's your last question for me?
If you could take any player from any sport and put them in another sport, what player would you choose and what sport would you put them in?
Definitely not Michael Jordan with baseball. So, that's a good question. Who would I put in another sport? You know what? I always wanted to see Usain Bolt as an NFL player. I want to see him run some routes and see how fast he could be up against a guy like Tyreek Hill. So I would probably put Usain Bolt in the NFL. I'll put him on my Jaguars, and I'll have him do kick and punt returns for us and see if he can get by everybody. That's what I would do. All right, Landyn, my question back to you. If you switched lives with any Major League Baseball player now or in history, whose life would you want to have for 24 hours and why?
Paul Skeens, because he throws gas and he's also dating Livy Dunn, who's like incredible. She's a smoke show.
I think everybody that mentions Paul Skeens mentions his girlfriend immediately after. They're like, yeah, he's talented, but he's also dating. So I believe that's the correct answer to most people, Landyn. All right, Talon, what's your last question for me?
I have two. If there was one MLB team you had to pick, that like if you weren't a Diamondbacks fan, what would it be? And my second question is, Diamondbacks, what is one player in the MLB, if you could pick one right now to take off the team and put him on the Diamondbacks?
Okay, so if I didn't like the Diamondbacks, who would be my team? It would be the Yankees or the Mets. Yankees for my dad and my grandfather. Mets because I have a soft spot since DeGrom a few years ago. So, I mean, I guess I would probably, that's tough. I think I would lean more toward the Mets because I feel like they need as much positive love as they can get right now. But if I could put anybody on the Diamondbacks, I would put Paul Skeens on the Diamondbacks because we need pitching help right now. And I wouldn't mind seeing his girlfriend wear Diamondback red. So I'm going to pick it for the same reasons that you said it. I want Skeens in rotation right now. My question back to you, Talon, is if you could, all right, since you asked me who I would put where, if you and I could go on any Major League Baseball team that's not the Yankees or the Diamondbacks, so we'll keep our teams out of it. You and I are going to play right now. What team do we go to, and what position do you trust me to play?
Not the Yankees or Diamondbacks?
Not the Yankees or Diamondbacks.
I would say the Dodgers with just how many stars they already have, and I feel like with the money and the players they have, that's our best chance of us winning. So,
Okay.
And what position would I trust you at?
Yeah?
Like knowing who they already have, or
Yeah. Whatever goes into it for you. I run a lot more than I used to, which is good. I actually like cardio more than I did in high school.
I would either put you in right field or first base.
Right field or first base? I'll take first base. I go. Yeah, I'll take first base. I'll take just me personally, I would want to take first base over right field, but yeah, I mean wherever. I like that. I'll take that. The Dodgers, that's a tough pill to swallow because they're in my division. But I understand why you did it. I think there's 3 guys that total $1 billion on their team right now. All right, Jacob, what's your last one for me?
If your life was on the line, who would you want to pitch against Mike Trout?
If my life was on the line, would you say?
Who would you choose to pitch against someone like Mike Trout?
Who would I choose to pitch against somebody like Mike Trout?
Against Mike Trout.
Against Mike Trout. If my life was on the line. Has it got to be somebody now?
And anyone in history.
Anyone in history against Mike Trout. I'm going to say Nolan Ryan, or you said it, the big unit, Randy Johnson. By the way, he's like 6 foot something. I disagree. I saw him at Game 3. He's like 8 feet tall. His head goes like above the windows, like break. So when they were trying to show him up in the box, you couldn't even like see his whole face. So I'm going to say Randy Johnson or Nolan Ryan. If my life depended on it, that would be my choice. A question back to you, Jacob. Jacob, if your life depended on it, and you had to, okay, literally your life depended on it, you're driving across the country, who would you trust of your teammates to drive you from here to California, not get a ticket, not blow a tire, not fall asleep? If it was your teammate and your life in the passenger seat, who do you trust to drive you across the country, not get pulled over, no flat tire, and not going to fall asleep?
Landyn Shaw.
All right, Landyn, why?
I think max he goes 5 miles over the speed limit.
5 miles over the speed limit, okay.
Most of the time, both hands are on the wheel.
Okay.
It's safest driver I've ever met.
Didn't he run into a stop sign?
Okay. So you trust, is it true you only go 5 over the speed? Sometimes 10? So, and you drive with 2 hands, not 1? So you actually do what drivers are supposed to do. Okay, fair enough. Jacob, who's the worst driver on the team?
Probably Luke Alfieri.
Why would you pick Luke?
I don't know, I always see him going by a little too quick sometimes.
Going a little too quick, okay. So it's a nice way to get him out of that answer. Coach, you get the last question. What do you got?
Favorite game you've ever been to, or most memorable?
Most memorable? Baseball?
Any sport.
I'm going to pick baseball since we're here with your baseball program. I'm going to say Game 3 of the World Series. Even though the Diamondbacks lost, being at a game with my dad, and I still have it all on my phone. I got our pictures, I got the videos. My dad is not a singer, but he was singing Take Me Out to the Ball Game on video, and he had like the World Series scarf on, he had everything with it. And my dad, being a Yankee fan, he told me flat out, he's like, from here on out, as long as they don't play the Yankees, I will cheer for the Diamondbacks and be a Diamondback fan. He's bought their gear, he's rocking all their gear now. So I think being at a game with your father or your mom or a grandparent, whatever, I just want everybody in the room to know this in case you don't. If your parents are alive, if your grandparents are alive, I don't care what you do. You could get a meal, you can watch a movie, you could take a walk. If your family is here, and this is coming from somebody whose grandparents are all up in heaven. My parents are here right now, and I love it. If your parents are alive, your grandparents are alive, call them, give them a hug and a kiss, go to see them, take them somewhere, ask them about the things that matter to them, because you will never regret having the conversation, knowing them as best you can, and loving them as hard as you possibly can. So if we can right now, please give a round of applause for family, because it's very important. So it was a very unique experience last year because my grandfathers passed away when my parents were 37, and I was 37 last year. So I couldn't, like being 37 last year, I could not fathom having my parents pass away, and it was a very real experience. So I take a lot more trips with mom and dad now, and more purposeful time. So going to the World Series with my dad and going to Florida with my mom recently was pretty cool. Also, my mom got me a cruise, and she goes, you could take whoever you want, but she got it for me. And I was like, come on. She's like, you want to go with your mom? She's like, you're a grown guy. You could take anybody. I go, Ma, I will never regret spending time with you. So Mom and I went on the cruise, and it was a lot of fun. I've never seen my mom up past 1 o'clock in the morning. She was like going to the movies, going around the ship. Like, shout out to my mom too. So my question back to you, Kevin, is I'm going to stick with family. What is your favorite family memory up to this point?
They're all baseball related. When I got drafted by the Brewers, hugging my mom, but that was more about me. When I got to hug her after we won this game, that's something I'll never forget.
Mom, for that moment,
Yes.
for you,
Yes.
and then that moment for them and
Yes.
you. That's awesome.
Something much bigger than me.
Yeah, and that's incredible. So I'm going to ask one more time, but I'm going to ask it be as loud as it's been all night. West Genesee Wildcat Section 3 Class AA champion team here at the Wildcat Sports Pub on Wake Up Call. Ladies and gentlemen, please, not only these three guys and coach, but to the entire team and to the history of the Wildcats, to the alumni, please give your Wildcats the biggest round of applause. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.